Hey everyone, today I thought I would share with you some of what I feel are useful tips that I have learned over the years as I have moved. I've been married for about 8 years in December, and I've moved about 6 times, and this will be our seventh move. So it's not like it's a foreign concept to me. Although I am still learning, I don't claim to know everything, and I know that every situation is different. So some of these may not apply to you, but hopefully you can take something from it. One of the number one things that I suggest you do, if you can, is to plan ahead. Now, some of our moves, like we knew we were going to move, and we had quite a bit of time to plan. Not quite a bit, but a decent amount, a few months for sure. But some of them were so spur of the moment, we only had maybe a month to plan. This one's kind of like that as well. Like we've kind of known for a couple of weeks, but yeah, it wasn't like for sure until just recently. So this one's going to be a pretty quick one, but if you have the ability to plan ahead, um, you know me, I like to write lists and, plan things out. So I have a running list, not a running list, but whenever I find out that we're moving, I have a list for things I need to prep to pack, things I need to pack for the car, things I need to clean and how to clean them, and things to keep the kids occupied in the car. Um, and then things I need to square away, like change of address and take care of not shutting off, but changing the name and the electricity and the water and garbage company and so on and so forth, things like that. So I have those lists going on, and people to contact, like credit card companies, banks, things like that, are in that list as well. The second thing that I would recommend doing after you plan as much as possible is to declutter. Get rid of as much as you possibly can. This round, I actually have not gotten rid of near as much as I thought I would, because this time last year, I went through the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and while I never fully got to implement her method, like I never found a home for everything in my home, if that makes any sense. But I did go through and I got rid of anything that didn't bring me joy or that wasn't necessary. And so going through everything in my house this time around, like I usually do every time we move, is so much faster, and it's actually making it a bazillion times easier. But yeah, when I go through and I declutter, I also do number 3, and that is clean as much as possible, as early as possible. Now, I get it, especially if you have kids. You're not going to want to clean everything like a month or two in advance, because your kids are probably going to come behind you and they're going to mess it up again. I get it. I'm in the same boat. However, there are things that you can clean ahead of time that most people tend to forget until like the very last second, and then they're rushing and rushing and rushing and rushing the day before inspection, like a move out inspection, and they will go over it. And the day before that, you're like rushing around trying to get everything, all these little things that you could have already done. So as I declutter, as I go through things, whether I get rid of stuff or not, I take everything out of the cabinets and I clean out the cabinet. Take everything out of the drawers and I clean out the drawers. And then as I get to like in the kitchen, as I get to the stove, I'll clean up the hood of the stove and like the stove part of the stove, which is not easy, by the way. I'm still working on that one. And the oven and so on and so forth. And then as I get to the fridge and I clean out the fridge, I empty it out as well, and so on and so forth. And instead of packing everything up at this point, I am putting it back because, like I said, we are having movers come to move us. So that's not a big deal for us. But at this point, if we were moving ourselves, which we have done in the past, I would be boxing up anything that I know I'm not going to use between now and the move. Like gadgets, like a bread maker, I'm probably not going to make bread between now and the move. So I would be boxing that up if we were moving ourselves, and so on and so forth, things like that. Even though I'm not actually boxing anything up, I am still prepping it to be boxed. So like for my bread maker, I'm going to tape it shut so that all the pieces stay in it. And like my deep fryer is going to be taped shut and things like that. And I've already gone through my crafting room and done that. I've shut everything, like taped everything into bins and stuff so that all they have to do is stick those bins in a box, and then that one box will be all of my stuff, and I know where everything is, and I don't have to search through what they pack and try really hard to find like my sewing needles or my hot glue or, you know, things like that. So I highly recommend prepping for the movers as number 4. As you go through your things, pack up the little stuff, like all of this stuff in our little miscellaneous drawer that has like hair ties and nail clippers and like random things like that that don't actually have a home, even though they have a home. I've put in Ziplocs, and I haven't shut them up because we do use it still on a regular basis, but it's already Ziplocked. So all I have to do is tape those Ziplocs shut, and all they have to do is box it up. So it just makes that process a whole lot faster. And then number 5, as I'm going through everything and decluttering and organizing and prepping to pack, I'm also inventorying. I'm checking to see what is broken, what is wore out, what needs to be replaced, what we don't have that I thought I had, like my kids' clothes, for example. I realized how very few short sleeve shirts they have. They have enough, but we are going to a warmer climate, so they will need a few more. And I'm also looking through what they're outgrowing, what is wearing out, what has too many holes, what has too many stains, and we're going through that as we do all of that as well. So inventory your things as well. So those are my top 5 moving tips for you guys today. Plan ahead if possible. Declutter as much as possible. Clean as you declutter. Prep the items that you declutter for the move. And inventory. And one thing I forgot to mention that I would advise also is while you're cleaning everything, make sure you clean your own furniture as well, because you're not going to want dirty furniture when you get to your new house. So it is, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but I have forgotten, and then I had to clean it when I got there, and I was like, ugh, why didn't I do this before I moved? So, yeah, definitely clean your own furniture as well as the house itself. But other than that, the only other thing that I really like to do, I do like to have like a visual image of like how we're going to pack the car and how we're going to pack the truck if we're packing ourselves, which this time we're not. We are packing the car though. So I will draw out, to the best of my unartistic abilities, my car, and I will draw out exactly how I feel like I can pack it, and usually that helps a lot in the visualization process. That's also how I design a room, like I did the kids' room that way, and things like that. And I would do that for the moving truck as well if we were moving ourselves, but this time we're not, so thankfully I don't have to do that either. Yay. But yeah, so that's about all I have for today. I hope you got something out of it. Until next time, bye guys.